I built my love a menstrual hut. I built it out of clay. With earthen halls and wattled walls, I built it far away.
Look who we're hanging with!
That would be me.
Look who we're hanging with!
Jason David Frank.
Boom shakalaka.
Please do not change channel.
Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin With Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter. Thank you so much for logging on, tuning in. Go ahead, hit subscribe. Come back over and over again. We've got authors, artists, musicians, filmmakers, creative minds of all kinds coming at you. And we are here this weekend, Fantasy Weekend, at the Brevard County Renaissance Fair in Wickham Park in Melbourne, Florida. And we're hanging out with all kinds of crazy people. And right now, we're hanging with Arthur Greenleaf Holmes, the performer, creator of the wildly inappropriate, wildly inappropriate poetry of Arthur Greenleaf Holmes. I made it all the way through that. So, Arthur, how you doing, man?
I'm quite well, Gary.
Oh,
Good to
right,
meet you.
man. Thanks for hanging with us today.
Not a problem.
So,
I have a very easy social agenda today.
So, wildly inappropriate poetry.
Yes.
Okay. And this is a performance art.
Well, yes. I look at it sort of as the meeting place between stand-up comedy and poetry, and theater.
And see, there's a lot of stuff going on there, and he's doing it all. So, okay, so where did this come from? Where you're sitting home one day and all of a sudden you're like, look, if I stood in front of people and told wildly inappropriate poetry, that would be awesome. I
wish I could say that I came up with all the ideas by sitting at home at a desk and looking out the window and contemplating it, but it's not really the way I work. It usually works because I am grounded in a tradition of street theater.
Oh,
and this
okay.
came about because I was simply asked to play a poet at the Sterling Renaissance Festival up in New York. And I knew what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to just collect limericks, and I didn't want to recite other people's poetry. And as I started to create some poems, I believe that maybe almost subconsciously I was summoning up the poetry.
This is a natural dirty mind.
That, but it is also a poetic mind, because my father was an English professor and he used to read us Walt Whitman and John Keats and all these, Emily Dickinson, and so I think I was summoning up that same sort of imagery and language to combine with dirty poetry.
As one does.
Because there's a lot of comedian poets, but if you look at their poetry, very often it's not very poetic.
No, it's more comedy, less poetry.
It's more comedy, but I like to put the comedy and the language on equal footing.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Right. Which is great for a Ren Fair environment.
It is.
It really is.
Because
it is, I mean, this is a place where we want to be funny, we want to have a good time, but we also want to bring a little bit of that Renaissance spirit in the language and things like that.
Right, and along those lines, I knew that sort of college-age kids would think this was funny, but the surprise of this is that I also see, in many cases, very old people enjoying it, and I think it's because it's a use of language that's affixed to them that they haven't gotten in a while. And that's what gives the show a bit more value, I think.
Yeah, no, it would. As language evolves, sometimes we tend to separate our nature from our communication. And so it's divided into sort of this slang language for your more inappropriate stuff, and then your proper language for your more formal stuff. But we forget that as time goes, it is often, and even the poets that you mentioned, oftentimes the poetry is a lot of double entendre. There's a lot of mixed meanings.
And when you can take the formal language, the elegant language, and mix it with something that's filthy, I think you create a surprising experience.
Yes.
And I always wanted to do something different. I didn't want to look at other shows and say, well, wow, I could do that too.
Now,
I wanted to
have a
look at
background
what's
in
not
street theater?
I do.
As a comic? Or?
As a comic, I started out doing these sorts of festivals way back in the late 80s. And
Like way before it was cool.
Yeah,
it was like 5 guys in a tent in the park.
I'm not sure it ever became cool. You seem to imply that it's now cool, but...
I'm here, aren't I?
Well, all right, you've given us some legitimacy. But I used to do mud shows. I was a
Really?
beggar. I was a beggar. And then out of that, I developed a routine where I would sit in the dirt and I would hit myself with a pan when people threw money at me. And I did that for years until I just felt that I outgrew it.
The next time you're thinking about going home and telling your mom that you're choosing a career path, and she's going to go, oh, I want you to imagine Arthur going home saying, Mom, I hit myself with a pan and they throw money at me.
Actually, my parents pressured me into that job.
And see?
That's not
true. Okay, so do you have a favorite of your work? Do you have a favorite inappropriate poem?
Oh, I have 2 favorites.
Okay.
Yes.
And so these are that you wrote?
Right.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd be a cover poet.
A cover poet. That's right, and you don't want to do that because the copyright on that is really hard to get around.
Yes.
So, all right, tell you what, let's give YouTube a little taste.
All right. Do you want the whole poem or just a taste of it?
What do you guys want? What do you want?
All
the
right.
whole poem.
I can
They all behind the camera, they say the whole poem. So, and there you go.
Right.
There they are. YouTube, Arthur Greenleaf Holmes, the World Wide Web.
Hello, world. This poem is called I Built My Love a Menstrual Hut. I built my love a menstrual hut. I built it out of clay. With earthen halls and wattled walls, I built it far away. That I might have some solitude when twixt her thighs she leaks. Away, my love, get thee to hut, and stay you for a week. And stay a while, till calm returns, that I won't have to bear thy grinding voice and hissing tongue that claws my inner ear. For I've got work to do, you know, and I can't keep my head. My love, she bursts in tears, then flings herself upon the bed. And oh, what stench, my bleeding one! 'Tis like a stagnant fen. It smells as if Lake Netherclam hath turned itself. Again, where's she going? The dogs have gathered at the door. They think I've slain a lamb. The vultures fix their baleful eyes upon that wounded clam. They think I'm making dinner, for the stench hangs thick and strong. And if I had a bouillon cube, they wouldn't be far wrong. So low her lips, they leave a trail as from a pilgrim slug. But must she drag her meat flaps cross my oriental rug? With panties at her ankles, my love shuffles across the room. It's boo-hoo-hoo and nag, nag, nag each time she's on her moon. Almighty Christ, her voice is shrill, like nails against a slate, and I can't find a quiet place to go and masturbate. Don't ask her for a reach around, she'll beat you with a rock. I suppose I'm to apologize because I have a cock. But I need sex, yet so much blood, 'tis more than I can take. If blood was what I wanted, hell, I'd fucking uncooked steak. So out to fling thy changing moods and wring thine anxious hands. Go hence to burn thy dinner too and nag some other man. I hie thee to that sodden hut to wail without surcease. Sweet menstrual hut, I built thee well. At last I'll have my peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arthur Greenleaf Holmes of the wildly inappropriate poetry of Arthur Greenleaf Holmes. Thank you so much.
That was a period piece.
That was awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
How can they afford me?
I'm saying, I don't know. Tell us about the costume, man.
This costume was made by a woman who's about 4'0". Her name is Marita Beth Caruthers, and she works at a place called Pendragon Costumes, which has a presence in many festivals around the country. She lives in Dallas, but if you ever go to her house where she makes her costumes, it's exactly the sort of place you want to go to because you have to squeeze down hallways full of reams of
Just
fabric.
costumes
She's a
and
witch,
fabric.
a good witch, and she made this, and it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful costume. It really is amazing.
Love it. Pearls.
Wow. So you're here at the Brevard Renaissance Fair. You're here for the whole 3-week run?
I am.
Okay, and then where are you off to?
Then I do the Florida Renaissance Festival, which
Okay.
is in Deerfield Beach, Florida.
Yep.
After that, Scarborough Fair in Dallas, and then I go up to New York for Sterling Renaissance Festival, and then the Pennsylvania Renaissance Festival after that.
Wow, just making the rounds all over the country. Fantastic. Guys, we're going to try to put links down below for those fairs so you know where you could find Arthur Greenleaf Homes. And,
.com.
ArthurGreenleafHomes.com.
Right.
Go there. Plenty of funny limericks, lyrics, and don't take the wife. Or,
Take her.
yeah, go ahead.
Take her.
Take her.
I have some for the men too, so don't worry.
There you go. See, perfect. He is a completely equal opportunity offender. So, guys, we're going to say thank you to our partners and friends at Something Unique Magazine, Famous Faces and Funny, Space Coast Comics, J. Bauer Art, Celestial Healing, Scriptown Radio, Radio.Crown, and our great friends at Pound the Grape. We also want to thank our great friends at Kitchen Killers and all of our great friends in the arts and entertainment community. Thank you so much. These are the people who share our videos all over the World Wide Web. We hope you will do the same. Hit subscribe, come back over and over again. Remember to log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next. Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank
That
you.
was